Did you know that 88% of millionaires are self-made? That means they weren't born into wealth. They created it using specific strategies that most people will never discover. Today, I'm going to reveal the 16 psychological principles that separate billionaires from everyone else. These aren't just motivational platitudes. They're battle-tested rules that can literally rewire your brain for success. And here's the kicker. Every single one of these rules goes against what society teaches us about money, success, and achievement. So if you're ready to think like the ultra-wealthy and transform your entire approach to success, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, while others struggle their entire lives. Let's start with a truth that will make you uncomfortable. The person you are right now cannot achieve the life you want. I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. Every billionaire started as someone completely different from who they became. They didn't just acquire wealth. They transformed into the type of person who naturally creates wealth. Think about it this way. If you could achieve your dream life with your current habits, mindset, and daily routines, wouldn't you already have it? The uncomfortable reality is that your current identity is perfectly designed to produce your current results. Nothing more, nothing less. So what does this mean practically? It means you need to audit every aspect of your life with brutal honesty. What habits are you clinging to that keep you average? Maybe it's spending 3 hours a day on social media instead of learning high-value skills. Maybe it's surrounding yourself with people who complain about money instead of discussing how to create it. Maybe it's choosing comfort over growth at every opportunity. Here's what most people miss. Transformation isn't just about adding good habits. It's about killing the parts of yourself that no longer serve your vision. That version of you who makes excuses, they have to go. That version who avoids difficult conversations, gone. That version who settles for mediocrity because it's familiar, dead and buried. The wealthy understand something that the average person doesn't. Your identity is not fixed. It's a collection of stories, habits, and beliefs that you can consciously redesign. But here's the catch. You can't renovate a house while living in it. You have to be willing to temporarily live in chaos while you rebuild from the ground up. This brings us to our second principle, and it's one that will determine whether you succeed or fail before you even start. You must become your own biggest believer before anyone else will believe in you. Most people have this backwards. They think they'll believe in themselves once they see results. But that's like expecting a plant to grow before you water it. Belief isn't the reward for success, it's the prerequisite. Here's what happens in the mind of someone destined for wealth. They don't just hope they'll succeed, they know they will. Not because they have all the answers, but because they have unshakable confidence in their ability to figure things out. They've programmed themselves to see setbacks as temporary and solutions as inevitable. But let me be clear, this isn't about toxic positivity or pretending problems don't exist. It's about developing what psychologists call an internal locus of control. When something goes wrong, instead of blaming external circumstances, you immediately ask, what can I control? What can I change? How can I adapt? This mindset shift is so powerful because it's contagious. When you radiate absolute certainty in your vision, investors want to fund you. Partners want to work with you. Customers want to buy from you. Your confidence becomes their confidence. But if you're constantly second-guessing yourself, hesitating, or seeking validation from others, you're broadcasting that you don't even believe in your own dreams. And if you don't believe, why should anyone else? Now here's where most people completely lose the plot. They think success means avoiding problems. They pray for an easy path, looking for shortcuts and magic formulas. But this is exactly why they stay stuck and frustrated. Billionaires have a completely different relationship with difficulty. They don't see challenges as obstacles. They see them as opportunities to separate themselves from the competition. While everyone else is running away from problems, they're running toward them, knowing that solving bigger problems leads to bigger rewards. Think about every successful person you know. Did they get rich by avoiding challenges? Of course not. They got rich by becoming the person who could handle challenges that others couldn't. They developed skills, resilience, and judgment that only come from going through difficult experiences. Here's the psychological shift that changes everything. Instead of asking, how can I avoid this problem? Start asking, how can this problem make me stronger? Instead of praying for smaller waves, pray for the strength to ride bigger ones. This doesn't mean seeking out unnecessary suffering. It means recognizing that the discomfort you're avoiding is often the exact thing that would transform you into someone capable of achieving your biggest dreams. Most people quit right before their breakthrough because they can't tolerate temporary discomfort. But if you can train yourself to get excited about challenges, you'll automatically put yourself in a category that most people will never reach. Which brings us to one of the most counterintuitive principles of wealth creation. High performers don't obsess over the finish line. They fall in love with the process of getting better. Most people are outcome addicts. They're only motivated when they can see immediate results. But here's what they don't understand. Success isn't a one-time event. It's the result of showing up consistently, even when progress feels invisible. The wealthy have trained themselves to get satisfaction from small wins. Every skill they improve, every connection they make, every lesson they learn, these tiny improvements compound over time into massive results. But you have to develop the emotional discipline to stay motivated by progress that others can't even see. This is why so many people start strong and then fade. They're looking for the dramatic transformation, the overnight success story. But real wealth is built through what I call micro improvements. Getting 1% better every day might not feel exciting, but mathematically it leads to becoming 37 times better over the course of a year. The question is, can you find fulfillment in the small wins? Can you get excited about making progress even when nobody notices? Because if you can develop that internal motivation system, consistency becomes effortless, and consistency is everything. Here's why most people fail. They approach success like a sprint instead of a marathon. They push hard for a few weeks, then slow down when results don't come fast enough. They stop and start, never building real momentum. But momentum is like a flywheel. It takes enormous energy to get it spinning, but once it's moving, it becomes almost unstoppable. Every time you break the streak, you're not just pausing, you're resetting all that accumulated momentum. Successful people understand this at a deep level. That's why they do something every single day to move toward their goals, even if it's just for 5 minutes. They know that maintaining momentum is easier than constantly rebuilding it. Here's where most people get tripped up, though. They try to change everything at once. They want to transform their entire life overnight, but this approach almost always leads to burnout and giving up. Instead, focus on making the next step so small that failure becomes impossible. If you want to start a business, don't try to launch everything at once. Just identify one potential customer and have a conversation about their problems. If you want to get in shape, don't aim for 2 hours at the gym. Just do 10 push-ups. The magic happens when you remove the psychological resistance. When the next step feels easy, you'll actually take it. And when you take it consistently, it compounds into something powerful. But here's what you need to understand about focus. Most people spread themselves so thin that they never achieve mastery in anything. They're trying to build 3 businesses, learn 5 skills, and pursue 10 different opportunities all at the same time. Billionaires play a completely different game. They identify the few things that will create the most impact and they attack those relentlessly. They understand that every goal you add dilutes your ability to execute on what really matters. This requires something most people struggle with: the courage to say no. No to good opportunities that distract from great ones. No to people who want your time but won't help you reach your goals. No to activities that make you feel busy but don't move you forward. Ask yourself right now, what's the one thing that, if accomplished, would make the biggest difference in your life? That's your priority. Everything else is just noise until that target is hit. And speaking of targets, you need to be ruthless about who you allow in your circle. The wrong people will destroy your dreams faster than any external obstacle. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, doubt, and small thinking, you'll absorb it without even realizing it. Look around at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they pushing you toward your goals or pulling you away from them? Are they talking about opportunities or obstacles? Are they investing in themselves or making excuses? This isn't about being cruel. It's about being strategic. Your environment shapes your reality more than you realize. If everyone around you thinks small, you'll think small. If everyone around you avoids risk, you'll avoid risk. If everyone around you settles for average, you'll settle for average. The wealthy are absolutely ruthless about protecting their energy and their mindset. They surround themselves with people who inspire them, challenge them, and push them to levels they couldn't reach alone. This is also why they never quit when things get difficult. While others are looking for exit strategies, they're looking for breakthrough strategies. They understand that most people quit right before their breakthrough happens. Here's a truth that will change how you see setbacks forever. The business that looks like it's failing might need just one small tweak to become wildly successful. The skill you're struggling with might become your greatest strength with just a little more practice, but you'll never know if you give up too soon. Relentless tenacity isn't about being stubborn. It's about refusing to let temporary circumstances define permanent outcomes. It's about pushing forward when others pull back, knowing that persistence is often the only difference between success and failure. Now let's talk about something that separates the truly wealthy from everyone else: how they think about time and money. Most people trade time for money, which means their income is always capped by the hours in a day. Billionaires think completely differently. They don't get paid for their time. They get paid for the value they create. They focus on solving problems, creating outcomes, and generating results that people are willing to pay for, regardless of how long it takes. This is why a software developer can make millions from an app they built in their garage, while someone working twice as hard at an hourly job stays broke. One is selling time, the other is selling value. Ask yourself, what problems can I solve for people? What outcomes can I deliver? What transformations can I create? When you shift from selling hours to selling solutions, your earning potential becomes limitless. But here's what most people miss about creating value. Success isn't about taking, it's about giving. The wealthy understand that money flows to those who create the most impact. The more problems you solve, the more valuable you become. This is why billionaires don't hoard knowledge or resources. They leverage them to create even greater value. They understand that the fastest way to get what you want is to help others get what they want. And they never stop learning. The moment you think you know everything is the moment you start falling behind. The wealthy stay students for life, constantly seeking new knowledge, perspectives, and skills that will give them an edge. They surround themselves with mentors, experts, and advisors who know more than they do. They're not afraid to be the least knowledgeable person in the room because they know that's where the most growth happens. Here's something that might surprise you about the wealthy. They don't see investments as expenses. Every dollar they spend on their education, their health, or their business is designed to generate a return. They're not afraid to bet on themselves because they know the return on investment of personal growth is unlimited. Most people hesitate to invest in themselves. They hold on to their money and their comfort, afraid to take risks. But playing it safe is the fastest way to stay stuck. If you're not investing in your skills, your health, or your business, you're choosing stagnation over growth. And finally, here's the principle that separates the elite from everyone else. They don't hold back. They don't pace themselves or save energy for tomorrow. Every single day, they empty the tank and give everything they've got. Most people operate at a fraction of their capacity. They do just enough to feel productive, but never push themselves to their true potential. Then they wonder why they're not getting extraordinary results. But success doesn't belong to those who work when they feel like it. It belongs to those who show up with maximum intensity, refusing to leave any effort unused or potential unrealized. Ask yourself, did you truly give today everything you had? Did you push past your comfort zone and do the absolute best you could? Or did you leave potential on the table? The difference between those who win and those who stay stuck isn't talent or luck. It's the willingness to give everything they have, every single day, without holding anything back. Now you know these 16 principles, but knowledge without action is worthless. Most people will feel motivated for a few minutes and then go right back to their old habits. They'll keep chasing comfort, making excuses, and wondering why success feels just out of reach. But you're different. The real question is, what will you do now? Will you keep playing by the same rules that have kept you average? Or will you adopt the mindset that billionaires live by? Because once you commit to these principles, success isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The path has been laid out for you. Now it's time to walk it.